Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Ben, and I am so glad you're here. And I look forward to just taking the next few minutes to share with you three keys that can really help you thrive and have a fulfilling and vibrant life in the midst of all the distractions and overwhelm that many of us face today. Okay, whether you're a busy parent, an entrepreneur, a professional, maybe you're a student or someone starting a new chapter in your life, I'd love to share these few tips with you that have made a difference for me. Okay, all the way from studying electrical engineering at MIT to going to Columbia University to study medicine in New York City, and then doing a family practice residency in the Chicago area, and then a mother-baby fellowship, and practicing with a family practice that specialized in a physician-attended home birth, and then going on to become a dad as my wife and I grew our family of eventually 7 kids, and then also starting a business from home that led to grew internationally and led to me working with people all over the world. And at one point I was doing all these things, pieces of them simultaneously. Okay, so I'm coming to you with that kind of background, and now of course today we have more distractions and things calling for our attention almost than ever. So here are a few keys that could make a difference for you. Number one, okay, is to create an anchor. And what do I mean by that? Okay, I mean an anchor. Think of the ocean, that has a lot of variability on the surface, okay, including storms that could rock any boat on the surface. But what if you practice diving deep and creating an anchor to your soul, to your being that isn't rocked by outward circumstances, okay? Your bank account, people, relationships, what someone else says, what happens in the news, or even your own physical health. Okay, could we create an anchor that goes deeper? And one of the ways to do this, okay, regardless of your faith or your background, maybe you already have this practice, is having some kind of quiet time to create that anchor, some kind of daily practice. It could be what many people call a quiet time. It could be personal journal time. It could be meditation time, prayer, okay? Create something sometime in your day that allows you to go within and create that anchor and in a sense connect to something beyond yourself, or at least quiet all the noise externally that's constantly calling for your attention. Okay, so number one is create that anchor and make that part of your daily practice. Number two is related to this, okay, and it's the idea of creating margin. Years ago, I can still picture this in the living room where I grew up. My mom had a book. She was a nurse, and she had a book called Margin written by another MD. Of course, I wasn't an MD then. I was still growing up. But I remember that book. She had notes and underlines and highlights. But it was this idea, just like on a page, on a printed page, we have margins, right? Now, some of us might say, oh, I could fit more in. But the margins, the empty space, the seeming wasted space, actually makes it easier to read and consume and benefit from the content that's written there, and also gives us space to write notes or add little notes to ourselves and extra things in the margins if we choose to. Okay, so the same applies to life. In order to get the most out of our life, we actually will do better if we have some margin, some blank space, some white space around our life, around our day, instead of filling every moment to the edges, which can create a situation where we are less present, less conscious, less intentional about our own lives, and less present and conscious and intentional in our interactions with the loved ones and the people around us. Okay, so the second key is to create margin. How can you, and a quick tip just to make this practical, decide right now, maybe take a note to yourself, text yourself, decide right now, picture where could you create some margin? Is it a few minutes at lunchtime today to practice, number one, creating that anchor, being a little bit, taking some quiet time? Could it be going for a walk? Could it be sitting down to read a book to your kids or your family tonight, or having a little sit down face-to-face time with your family tonight? Could it be an intentional unwind time before bed and time off your phone, off your screen, shutting it down, putting it in another room at some point during your day or at the end of your day to create some margin, some white space in your day? Okay, so that's number two. Number three, okay, is movement. everything about life involves movement and flow, whether it's our breath, our circulation, the flow of water, of energy. Okay, flow and movement are an essential part of life. And it's so easy today for many of us to spend a lot of our time not moving, right? Sitting in a car, sitting at a table or a desk. Okay, so be intentional about creating some movement. Now, I love moving outside and love to encourage people to get outside when you can. Okay, but sometimes my movement working from home is just going up and down the stairs or walking or running or jumping from room to room. Okay, create movement. Some of you go to the gym. Some of you, again, it may be going for a walk at lunch, before work, after work. How can you create, some of you, it may be dancing. Okay, how can you create some movement or flow in your day and get into the rhythm and flow of life? And again, to make this practical, maybe stand up if you're able to and move right now. Or if you're driving or doing something else, move a hand, okay? Move your head, move your shoulders. You're just creating another form of anchor for yourself, which is a reminder to move, okay? And already making it part of your life at another level than maybe it was a moment ago. Okay, so number one, creating that anchor within that isn't disrupted by all the storms externally of life. Okay, number two, creating margin and white space. You know, a great place is beginning and end of your day, but somewhere in your day. Okay, and in your life. One more quick tip on that: give yourself permission that not everything has to be done today. So, what are the key things that I want to get done that would feel enough? You know, and then what can I let go so I can still have some margin, some white space in my day? Okay, and then number three is movement. Get into the movement and flow of life. Now, I want to give you one last bonus key, okay, to thriving and creating a life you love, and it's this: human connection. Okay, I remember years ago when I was in medical school and I was studying for the boards, I spent all day, hours in my room alone studying these practice tests and different things. And I remember feeling kind of drained at the end of the day. And I went out across the street to Delhi, across the street there in Manhattan, just above 168th Street and Broadway, where the medical school was for Columbia, and went to this amazing deli, got a sandwich. But I still remember this, decades later, checking out at the cash register, and the young lady there who just checked me out, collected my money, and just smiled and saying hi, and just having another human being to interact with in that moment, it lifted my energy, my spirits, my day. I remember vividly that human connection, that little bit of human connection, even with a stranger, made a difference. Okay. Now, many of us, we live with people or we have relationship, but we are like ships passing in the night. Where can I be intentional about that human connection? And if you are spending a lot of your day alone, can you go to a coffee shop or be intentional with the checkout person to smile and say hello and look for places in your day where you can have human connection? Okay, I'll give you one more thought on this. A number of years ago, we were visiting with a good friend near where we lived in Michigan, and he was sharing he had watched this special on blue zones, okay, around the world. And there were three in particular. I think one was in Italy or in Europe, and one was in Loma Linda, California, and one was in South America. So all very different locations, very different cultures, very different practices and diets. But you know what? One of the common denominators were that this researcher had noticed, and what our friend shared with us, it was that human connection. Each of those places, groups that were thriving and healthy, even many decades into life, had a practice, and it was basically a daily practice of some kind of social interaction together. Whether it was in Europe, eating and enjoying dinner and wine together, perhaps outside every evening, or whether it was in Loma Linda going for a walk, a group walk together every day, or whether it was South America. I forget what that one was, but there was this social human connection that was part of the culture and of their daily life. So where can you have human connection? So there you have it. Some initial tips. Okay, create that anchor, create margin, get movement and flow in your day, and human connection. Okay, now if you'd like to get more resources and tips, I have a blog. You can go to drbenlow, drbenlo.com. Enjoy the blog there. You can subscribe to the free email there, and we can stay in touch. Also, there are specific nutritionals and solutions from nature and even technologies now that can help with movement and flow and energy in our bodies that we can connect further on. If you'd like to know more about things like that, feel free to reach out. In any case, take these steps to heart. I hope it blesses you, and have a great day and great rest of your year creating a life you love. Bye for now.